فدلاهما بغرور فلما ذاقا الشجرة بدت لهما سوآتهما وطافقا يخصفان عليهما من ورق الجنة وناداهما ربهما ألم أنهكما عن تلكما الشجرة وأقل لكما إن الشيطان لكما عدو مبين. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح يا فتاح يا فتاح. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم الأمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, it's a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has given me and you the ability and tawfiq to participate in this gathering. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this gathering a source of guidance for all of us. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this gathering one of the means of our entry into Jannah. The ayah that I just recited, that's verse number 22 of Surah Al-A'raf. Verse 22 of Surah Al-A'raf. It's a very long ayah, but inshallah in tonight's brief reminder, I just want to share with you the first part of the expression of this ayah, which has an incredible amount of wisdom in it for our life in how we should deal with Shaitan. In this ayah, which is verse number 22 of Surah Al-A'raf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing how Shaitan got our parents, Adam and Hawa alayhimu salatu wassalam, to do the wrong thing that they did. What strategy Shaitan used to make them listen to him. Allah is not only telling us what Shaitan said to them. We all know that Shaitan whispered to them. Shaitan offered them eternity. Shaitan gave them guarantee that if you listen to me, then you will remain in Jannah forever and ever. We all know these stories. But what Allah is doing in this ayah is Allah is mentioning what method Shaitan used to tell them all these things. How did he do that? What method did he use? And that method is very, very important for all of us to understand, because to this day, Shaitan do the same thing to all of us. So the method of Shaitan, the way he told all these things to Adam and Hawa alayhimu salatu wasalam, that method is captured in the first part of this ayah, and that's the only part that I want to share with you, and I promise you that I won't take more than 7 to 8 minutes inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَدَلَّهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ. Dalla in Arabic language is used when you draw a bucket little by little. When you draw a bucket, dalv in Arabic language means a bucket, baldi, a bucket. Adla in Arabic language is that when you drop a bucket and then you pull it back up. You know how in older times there used to be well, and how you used to crack up the water? You know, you would drop the bucket and then you pull it right back up. That's what we call adla in Arabic language. But dalla means that you draw a bucket little by little. You know, for example, you put a bucket for a very primitive way of hunting an animal. So you have food or vegetable or carrot or whatever. You put that food into the bucket and then you tie that bucket to a rope, and then the animal comes and he starts eating from the food, and then you slowly draw a bucket towards yourself, and the animal follows that bucket, and then you catch the animal or you hunt that animal. This is what we call dalla in Arabic language. So literally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us in this ayah that Shaitan doesn't come to you and tell you disobey Allah, do something haram. That's not what Shaitan does. He offers you a little bit of compromise and you listen to him. Then he offers you a little bit more. You know, it's harmless. What I'm telling you, it's not haram. It's not wrong what I'm telling you to do. I'm just telling you to take a little bit easy. Don't become a Maulvi. Don't become too traditional. Don't become too conservative. Take a chill pill. Take a little bit easy. I'm not telling you to eat from this tree in the case of our parents, Adam and Hawa alayhi salatu wasalam. I'm not telling you that you should eat from the tree. I'm just telling you to check it out. It's a beautiful tree. There's no harm in looking at it. It's not haram for you to look at the tree. It's a beautiful tree. Just check it out. Now Allah's command to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam was what? وَلَا تَقْرَبَ Don't even go near to that tree. That was the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah never told Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, don't eat from the tree. He said to him, don't even go near to the tree. That's what. So Shaitan came to Adam and Hawa alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, look, I'm not telling you to touch the tree, but just go near to it. Just check it out. It's a beautiful tree. It's not a big deal. It's not haram. You can go and see the tree. And then later on he came to Adam and Hawa alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, it's not like you cannot climb up the tree. It's not haram for you to climb up the tree. You know, it's haram for you. You're not allowed to eat from the tree, but just have a little bit of climb. So this is what we call dalla, slowly, little by little. And dalla also suggests that all of these things are not happening in one day. It's not like Shaitan is giving them all of these suggestions in one day, in one go. No. All of these suggestions came a day, and then another day, and then another day, and then another day. It's not like Shaitan came to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam and he whispered him, and Adam alayhi salatu wasalam went and ate from the tree. No. There is a whole process of this guy. There is a whole process of this Shaitan. There is a whole process, there is a whole strategy of little by little winning over the argument. That's what he's doing. He comes to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, says to him, okay, check it out. Have a little bit of climb, and then eventually Adam alayhi salatu wasalam ate from that tree. This is what we call فَدَلَّاهُمَا بِغُرُورٍ. He draws Adam alayhi salatu wasalam towards deception with a little bit of ghurur. Little bit of ghurur. That's what. And this is the method that is very, very important for all of us to understand. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that expression in the Quran. It has a lot of wisdom in it for all of us to understand. That how should we deal with Shaitan? Because to this day, Shaitan does this to us. What I'm trying to say here is that there are things that are clearly wrong. They are clearly haram, and we all know them. The things that are haram, we all know them. That are clearly haram, we all know them. But there are many, many small things that are not clearly haram. They are there. And we all should have a good sense to know that if I take a little bit of tiny step today, tomorrow I will be taking another step. And then another step. And then another step. And before I know, I will end up in Shaitan, or I will end up in sin. I will end up in sin. Shaitan will never come. So it's important for all of us to put our protective measures around us. These protective measures, inshallah, will make sure that we don't get into trouble. You know, Shaitan, like I said before, he will never come to you and tell you that, you know, you should make something haram into halal. That's too direct. You know what is haram. So if he tells you to do something haram, you say, no, I'm not going to do it because I'm a Muslim and I know what is haram. So you will say no. Shaitan will come to you and say to you, this tiny step, this small tiny step that I'm telling you to take, that's not haram. It's not wrong. You can take that step. You can at least do that much. It's not absolutely haram. A lot of time people come. And there are a few youngsters sitting here. A lot of time people come. And you know, they ask this question that, you know, Mulana, we have friends. We know drinking is haram. We all know that drinking is haram. But we have friends in our office or in our workplace or in our schools or in our universities that drink. Is it allowed for us to hang out with them? We are not going into bar or anything. But you know, just sometimes when we are with them, they drink. So is it okay for us? Is it halal for us to be with them? Because they are our friends, so we can at least do that much. Is it absolutely haram or not? That's the kind of question they ask. And normally, the advice that I give to them, you know, it's not a good idea. You shouldn't do that because it's a bad company, so you shouldn't do that. And they always say to me that, is it absolutely haram? That's their question. Is it absolutely haram? Is it absolutely haram? And I always tell them that I cannot say that it's absolutely haram. I can't. No alim can tell you that it is absolutely haram. No da'i, no khatib can tell you that it's absolutely haram. And they always tell me, okay, I got my answer. I know what answer they got. I know what answer they are talking about. I got my answer. It means that we can do it. We can do it. But that's how Shaitan gets you to take the first step. You start hanging out with them. And then one day they will tell you, okay, we are going to the bar, do you want to come along? And then you will go. You will go. One day, eventually, you will go. And then eventually, one night, yeah, you are having your Coke or whatever drink you drink, or they are having their drinks. But one late night, maybe someone slipped something into your drink. You never know. And you drink it, and you don't realize it. And then later on you say, and you make this excuse, oh, I never intend to drink it. So Allah will forgive me, I never. But you take the first step. You take the first step. It's one thing and then another thing and then another thing and another thing. And by the way, this ayah in this surah, Surah Al-A'raf, Allah mentions the story of a man by the name of Barsisa. Look at the story. Look into the story of Barsisa. When you go back home, this is not a time for me to tell you that story. But look into the story of Barsisa. He does the same thing. Little by little, he goes into sin. He was a good man. He was a good, pious man. But little by little, he goes into sin. So this is the point that we are trying to understand in our today's dars, in our today's Tafseer class. That Shaitan will never tell you to do something haram. He will offer you a little bit compromise. He will get you onto the he will get you onto the road to the wrong. And by the way, when you are on the road, until you do a haram thing or until you do a wrong thing, no one can come out and directly tell you that what you are doing is haram. No one can say that because you are not doing anything haram. You are on the road to it, but you are not doing haram. You are not doing anything wrong. So if you don't recognize it yourself, until and unless you don't recognize it yourself that I am being pulled into something wrong, slowly but surely I am being pulled into it, then you have no one but to blame yourself. So we all need to have this kind of sense that there are things that are clearly haram. That's why the advice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam was وَلَا تُقْرَبَا هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةَ. Don't go near the tree. Allah never said to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, don't eat from the tree. There's a big difference between them. There's a big difference, especially when it comes to haram relationships. Men and women, haram relationships, when Allah talks about them in the Quran, Allah never says that, you should not call them, you should not talk to them, you should not interact with them, you should not be in the same room as they are. Allah always says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. Don't go even near to them. Don't go even near to them, because Shaitan will never tell you to do something haram. He will just offer you a little bit of compromise. There are roads that can lead you to haram things, and Shaitan is trying to get you onto that road. So we have to watch out. We don't have any other options. We have to watch out, and we have to make sure that we don't go into that road that Shaitan is trying to get us into. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us. It's an important issue that we always blame Shaitan, but there are so many things that we need to do, and there are so many things that we need to understand and realize, and that's why the Sunnah is in place. The Sunnah of Rasulullah. A lot of times, I don't want to say these words, but I think I'm as guilty as all of you, is that when it comes to ibadat, when it comes to our ma'amalat, when it comes to dealing with each other, when it comes to even to perform our ibadat, we don't observe sunnah the way we should. We are only concentrating on faraid, which is a good thing. Farz is a very good thing, and if you are observing first, especially in this age and day, alhamdulillah, it's because of the tawfiq of Allah, and then also you are making effort. But if you follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in every single matter that you do, then inshallah you will have a protective measure around yourself. These sunnahs are in place to save us from these small tiny steps that can lead us into haram things. A lot of time people come and ask us questions. When we tell them about sunnah, they don't take it seriously. They always ask, is it farz or not? I gave you one example, I don't know if you remember or not. I gave you one example. One time a brother came and asked me this question: can we stretch our legs towards Qibla? Because there is a huge argument always happening in the central mosque. Some people come and they somehow sit in a position in which they are stretching, they are relaxing, so they are stretching themselves and they are stretching their legs towards Qibla. And a lot of time people ask this question: is it haram or halal? And most of the time they are Pakistani brothers, because they get confused. And by the way, in our tradition, in our culture, this is something that we don't do. We give a lot of respect to Qibla, to Quran and all these things. By the way I put this Quran here on my lap, in Pakistan you will never see anyone putting Quran on the lap. They will always be holding it like this. They will never put it on the lap. I'm putting it here, but they won't. So this person, he came to me and he asked me this question: is it haram to do it? And I can't tell him this is haram to stretch your legs, but I gave him the ayah from the Quran, in which Allah says, وَمَنْ يُعَظِّمْ شَعَائِرَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ. Whoever has any kind of respect for the sha'air of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the things that represent Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what we call sha'airullah. You see the things and you feel Allah, or you recognize Allah through those things. That's what we call sha'airullah. So Allah says, whoever has a respect for all those things that represent Him, فَإِنَّهَا مِنْ تَقْوَى الْقُلُوبِ, they will have more piety in their hearts. They will have more piety in their hearts. So if we have respect, I can't stretch my legs towards my father. It's be'adbi. In my culture, it's be'adbi. It's a bad manner to stretch your legs towards. So how can I dare to stretch legs towards Qibla? And today if you're stretching leg towards Qibla and you're not giving enough respect to the Quran, maybe it can lead to something else, which is a dangerous thing, which is a more dangerous thing. So in our life, it's very, very important that we observe sunnahs. For example, a lot of time people ask, why is it so important to say salam when you come into the masjid? When people are praying, they are busy, they are reciting Quran, when you say salam, it disturbs them. They ask these kinds of questions. But Prophet said afshu salam. He said spread salam. It's a sunnah of Rasulullah. He said you cannot enter Jannah until unless you become a believer. You cannot become a believer until unless you love your fellow believers. And let me tell you a thing that can increase your love for your fellow believers. And he said increase salam. Say salam to each other, and that will increase your love. I'm not telling you to go and say salam in a way that you shake hands with every single one. If someone is reciting Quran, even if someone is eating food, by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but if someone is eating food, you're not supposed to shake hands with them, but you can still say salam. You enter into the praying area, you say salam. And it's not an obligation on every single person to say wa alaikum salam. If out of the whole area or out of the whole gathering, one person says wa alaikum salam, that's enough. And there are many hadiths that Prophet ﷺ is busy reciting the Quran or doing something, and Sahaba came and said salam, and Prophet just nodded his head. That's it. A lot of time I felt that people sometimes get offended when they leave. For example, after Asr Salah we do tasbihat, but if someone is in hurry, they finish the salah and then they left, and while they are leaving they say assalamu alaikum, and I just nod my head, and some people got offended. So you never said wa alaikum salam. It was obligation upon you to say. But at that time you are doing tasbihat, you are not supposed to say wa alaikum salam. So you just nod your head and it's enough. But what I'm trying to say is that these are the sunnahs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It increases love, it increases piety, and it protects you from haram things. It protects you from getting onto the road that can lead you to haram things. That's why it's important that we learn sunnahs and then we bring them into our life. And this way, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect us. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to understand whatever we've learned today.